The Private Student Housing Association has welcomed the decision by the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation to dissolve the board of the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. Since the beginning of 2024, NSFAS has not been able to pay allowances as mandated by the NSFAS Act. The PSHA has also noted and welcomed the appointment of Freeman Nomvalo as the new NSFAS administrator. It has expressed hope that he will contribute positively towards the sector's stability and putting in place a sustainable solution for the remainder of the 2024 academic year. The association says of his priorities should be the urgent payment of services rendered to all accommodation providers. PSHA has engaged NSFAS management previously and recommended that the remainder of the academic year payments be effected through the universities to bring stability to the higher education sector. And for more on this, we're now joined by the CEO of the Private Student Housing Association, Kagisho Mamabolo, and he joins us via our video link. And Kagisho, thank you so much for your time this evening. Looking at that statement that has been released by your association, you have welcomed this dissolution of the board by the Minister of Higher Education.
Yes, good evening and thank you for inviting us. Indeed, as the Private Student Housing Association, we welcome the dissolution. We also welcome the announcement of the new administrator, because you would recall that since the beginning of this year, NSFAS had failed to pay for the allowances for accommodation. So as the private sector, we have carried these students in our facilities since the beginning of the year with no payment from NSFAS. So you can imagine that this has been very painful for us. And as a result of this, we approached NSFAS and engaged them. And they had promised that this payment will be done. But to this date, we have not received any money. And I can confirm to you that we have more than 20,000 students that at this point they are facing eviction from our facilities. As we sympathize with them as the association, we are cognizant that this problem was not created by them. So the best thing that we can do is to make our call to the incoming administrator to ensure that more than 260 million that is owed to all our members is processed and is paid, so that we can continue our commitment to fulfill the needs of the needy students.
And Kagisho, I mean, we saw there the students calling for the removal of those fintech companies and for the universities to pay students directly, and including yourselves when it comes to accommodation. Do you think that, this will be a conversation that NSFAS will be willing to have, especially the administration or the administrator?
Well, as an association, we can only hope that NSFAS will take the interests of the students at heart. I mean, we have experience in accommodating the students throughout the years. Before this new board that has been dissolved and before the new CEO following the previous administration, we have provided beds and we have engaged the NSFAS successfully. Now, the challenge that we are faced is that the new board and the new NSFAS leadership introduced sweeping policy changes in a very short space of time without proper consultation. At some point, this was bound to break the camel's back. We hope the administrator will consider going back to the basics, distributing money via the universities, because in our experience as private accommodation providers, we never experienced these teething problems of 4 months late payment. So our recommendations is that to resolve the 2024, all the payments for student accommodation should be effected via universities, not through third parties.
And looking at, those students who benefit from private accommodation, I mean, you spoke a bit earlier about evictions, and I understand at least 20,000 of those students reside in some of your residences, and you are saying that they may be evicted. How long will you give these students, the time to live in this accommodation? And when exactly are you going to have a meeting with NSFAS so that you can ensure that the safety of students is also prioritized, but at the same time, you as a business can also be paid what's due to you?
I mean, we can hardly make ends meet. You can imagine 4 months without any operation funds. We are bound to break at some point and close shop. But we are optimal, and then we are cognizant on the fact that with this instability that is being created in the last 4 months, we hope that this is the end of it. And then next month, we will be invited, hopefully, by the new administrator to engage with them on how we can keep the students in our residences. As I've said to you, we also carry mandate from our investors who have invested more than 4 billion in the last 3 years, where we provided more than 10,000 beds into the sector. So our sector is quite huge, and we are willing to partner with government in order to ensure that there is availability of bed in the sector, but this cannot continue without us meeting the minimum requirements to facilitate the basic agreement that we have entered into with our investors. So we only hope that NSFAS will only listen to the pressure that we have and also meet us halfway, because if they don't do that, therefore they will be killing the small businesses that exist and also the contribution that private sector is making towards working with government to help poor students.
And as you meet with the administrator or meet with NSFAS, what will be at the heart of your demands?
I mean, on top of our agenda at the moment is really to look at the issue of the cap allowance. For 2024, NSFAS has introduced a cap allowance and forcing us as private accommodation providers to accept the fee rate that they impose on us for all the beds. And you would imagine that the quality of beds and the facilities that are provided across the country, they differ depending on where the institution is based. So peri-urban and urban institutions cannot absolutely have the same rate. And NSFAS, by imposing that rate cap, is really crippling our business. Secondly, NSFAS is introducing the student accommodation portal, where students go online to apply for accommodation and be credited. We have a very bad experience with the new accreditation processes, where our members and our facilities are not graded with a proper methodology and transparency. Our facilities meet the minimum standards as set by government, which means that we offer the best of the best facilities in the country. Therefore, we expect NSFAS to be cognizant of that and give us the best accreditation that we deserve. And as a result of this, we have seen NSFAS imposing an administration fee, which is way above the market related, and we want to engage with the administrator to revisit that. So we believe that in order to bring stability in higher education for 2024, we must go back to the basics and reverse all these decisions that the outbound board has made, and then continue as we did last year, and then sit on the table and work together to come with a better solution for 2025. And we are ready to do that as private sector, and we will keep the students in our facilities if NSFAS is willing to meet us halfway.